Hello everyone, I am Miss Carrie with Creative Fabrica. If you are unfamiliar with this site, it is a digital platform for crafters with millions of designs, fonts, and needlework patterns that you can use for your crafting projects. I use these designs for my paper crafting, scrapbooking, card making, and die cutting and Cricut crafts. But there are some wonderful digital designs for those who do needle crafting, silhouette designs, and so much more. I started scrapbooking when our children were young. As they got older, I started teaching classes, and I realized the need for Cricut instruction. I started teaching local classes about 12 years ago at rec centers, the library, and craft stores, and then I branched out into the online realm in 2019. Now I share classes on various platforms, including Creative Fabrica.
There are some amazing classes here on the Creative Fabrica website. When you visit the site for the first time, you're going to notice that it is packed full of creative fun. On the left side of the menu, you have over 6 million fonts and graphics to choose from. As we move to the right, you can design with Spark or grab needlework patterns. I mentioned that I've taught a few classes here on the site. If you enjoy learning from the expert, there are over 1,000 online classes that you can take. There are also resources for teachers, which I just love, print on demand, and bundles. At the end of this video, I have another amazing resource that I want to share with you, and I don't want you to miss it. Today, I'm going to show you how to use a few of the designs from Creative Fabrica to create this Valentine scrapbook page. I'm going to be working with the Cricut machine, focusing primarily on the welding tools. In this video, I'm going to share how to create the background image, the title, and the floral pieces for this page, and I'll give you a few tips that will help you with the assembly process. The supplies I'm using are very generic scrapbook supplies that include cardstock, craft paper, some adhesive, and a few tools. All of the items that I'm using, including the fonts and digital designs, will be listed in the description section for your reference. Let's head into Cricut Design Space and start creating this layout. I'm using the desktop version of Cricut Design Space. If you are using the iOS or Android app, your screen will look different than mine. I am going to download the heart and floral digital designs and the two fonts to my device from the Creative Fabrica website. In the description section, you will find links to each of the designs that I'm using on this project today. These are the hearts that I am going to be using on my Valentine layout. As you can see, there are many available in this collection. To download these, I just need to click on that download icon. These will save to my downloads folder. I will need to extract them and then upload them into Cricut Design Space. To upload the images, I'm going to click on the upload icon on the left, click on Upload Image, then browse the files on my device for the extracted folder that I downloaded. When you upload the image, you can add a name and tags if you wish. Once you have added the labels, click on the Upload button and then add it to your canvas. If you're not familiar with how to use digital designs, we have some awesome learning tools for you. If you scroll to the very bottom of the website page, you'll find the Learn menu with tutorials that focus on specific machines like the Cricut. I have already downloaded the digital designs and fonts into Cricut Design Space, and I'm currently adding the heart images to my canvas. I'm going to start by adding a guide to my page in an 11-inch by 11-inch size. I'm going to insert a square, change it to 11 inches by 11 inches, and use the operation menu to turn this into a guide. Guides are just used as reference. They do not cut or draw. They're just used to help you visualize a design. Now we're going to take those heart images and start laying them out onto our guide to build our background. I'm going to drag the images over to the guide, resize them, and duplicate them to fit the space. I do suggest that you make most of these hearts at least 2 to 3 inches in size. If you make them much smaller, you're going to lose the beautiful detail in these images. As you design your background, you want to make sure that each of those hearts overlap slightly as you put this together. I'm using the zoom tool to help me see if the images are overlapping enough. You may need to zoom in and out a few times as you design your background. I'm making mine rather detailed, but be aware that the more hearts you add, the longer this is going to take to cut out. Mine took about 20 minutes to cut on my machine, which gave me time to enjoy a cup of coffee and prep my space for crafting. If you're on a time constraint or have very little patience, you're going to want to use less hearts or make them larger. This part of the video has been sped up quite a bit, and I am skipping some of the process here. If you need to pause the video and finish building your background project on your canvas, feel free to tap the pause button and then come back when you're ready to continue. As you can see, I have placed all those hearts onto my guide. Each one is touching or overlapping another heart in the design. Now I want to weld all these images together to create my background piece. If you've been working in Design Space for a while, the tool has changed from Weld to the Combine tool. This still has the Weld option, but there are some additional tools like Unite, Subtract, Intersect, and Exclude. We're not going to use all these tools today. I'm just going to focus on that Unite tool. Before I unite my images, I do want to delete the guide. I'm going to do this by clicking on the icon in the Layers panel on the left, and then I'll click Delete on my keyboard. To select all the images, I'm going to click on Select at the top of the screen. Then I'm going to weld the images using the welding tools on the lower right. With all the images selected, I'm going to click on that word Combine, then choose Unite. I prefer to use the Unite tool because my images still appear as separate layers in the panel on the right. If any of these designs fill in because I overlapped them, I can resize them or move them. I can also undo Unite when I return to the project. The Weld tool is not as forgiving. Once the items are welded, they are permanently stuck together and you can't make changes to your design. If you have spaces that filled in or parts of the design that didn't quite weld together, you can click on individual images in the Layers panel and make changes. For example, this heart here has a few of the pieces that were filled in because I overlapped it too much. I just need to click on that icon in the Layers panel and make changes to the shape. The images stay united together, but by moving the image, I can now see all the lovely details in that heart. All right, at this point, you may want to pause the video and make any of the changes needed to your background piece. Once you've finished, I'll show you how to make a title, and then we'll put this page together. Off camera, I added the floral pieces to my canvas, and I have added a rectangle shape onto the design as a visual placeholder for my photo. I uploaded the floral digital designs and leaf designs to the canvas, and I sized them as needed. If you're new to using florals, here's a quick way to resize all your pieces proportionately. This Annabelle Designs comes as 2 separate digital pieces. I have changed the color here so it's easier to see. The floral piece is going to sit near the photo, but at this point it's a bit too large and I need to resize it. If I were to only resize the floral piece, my leaves might look disproportionate to the florals. So I want to size both of these images at the same time. The first thing I want to do is group the images together. Grouping the images is going to make it so that the two designs size proportionately to each other. I'm going to select the group and use the sizing handle to resize the floral pieces so that the largest flower fits the space where I want it to be placed on my project. Now all I have to do is make changes to material colors and that floral piece is ready to cut out. If you wish to use the florals and leaves that I used on my page, there is a list of the designs in the description section below. As you upload them to your canvas, you can use the sizing technique I shared to fit them to your design. If you want to use another type of floral or leaf image, we have many floral pieces available on the site to choose from. All right, the last step is to add a title. I'm going to open a new window and work on a separate canvas for this part of the project. Feel free to work on the same canvas as your project or open a new one. Just make sure you save this current project before you continue so that you don't lose all that hard work you've done. I've already loaded the two fonts that I'm using into my font library. I'm going to add the text by clicking on the text icon on the left side of the canvas. I'm going to be creating two separate text boxes. One text box will say you and me, the other will say together. The first line of text is going to use the Creative script. I'm going to select the text, go up to the font drop-down menu, click on System Fonts, and then I'll search for the font name. The second line of text is going to be the Amelin font. I'm going to repeat the process to change this text to the other font. Now I need to adjust the spacing of that first line just a little bit. I'm going to click on that line of text and then I'm going to go up to the Edit bar, click on the Advanced menu and choose Ungroup to Letters. This will allow me to manipulate the size, shape, and spacing between the letters. I also want to change that ampersand. It's a bit too big for my liking, and I would prefer that it match the other text design. To change this to the Amelin font, I'm going to select the ampersand, go up to the font menu, and change the font. If you need a little more time to make changes to your text, feel free to pause the video. I have sped this up a bit as I make changes to my design. I opted for script fonts that fit my specific project, but if these are not to your liking, you can choose one of the other fonts on our website that would be a better fit for your project. All right, at this point we have all the letters in place. Now I'm going to unite them together. Just like with the hearts, I'm going to select all the images, then go to the Combine tool on the lower right and select Unite. Again, I prefer using Unite over Weld because I can make changes. I wanted all of these letters to be welded together, but the letter T is out there on its own. Instead of having to undo a weld, I can just click on the letter in the Layers panel and make my changes to the letter T without having to alter the rest of the images. This phrase stays united together and reunites the images once I make my alterations. Now I'm going to move this to the scrapbook design we created. This is a great new feature in Cricut Design Space that I just love. I'm going to select that text, right-click my mouse and choose Copy. Then I'm going to open the window with my scrapbook layout and click Paste. This moves the image to the other canvas and allows me to resize it to fit the project. Our project is now complete and we can cut out all the pieces. If you need to make any changes to material colors or the size of your pieces, feel free to do so before you cut out the designs. Don't forget to save your amazing creation. You did a ton of work today and I would hate for you to lose it. I'm going to click on Make It and share one more quick tip before we assemble the layout. After you make your changes in Map Preview, you're going to select your materials on this screen. The heart design is going to be very delicate and it's going to take a little bit of time to cut out. I suggest that you use the intricate cut setting for this piece. If you have a newer Maker or Explorer, this menu is going to show up right away. But if you're using an older machine, you will need to turn the dial to Custom so that you can select this setting. I'm going to cut out all my images and then I'll share a few instructions that will help you with the assembly of the layout. Here are all my designs cut and ready to go. I have that lovely heart background we created with the welded lace pieces, the floral pieces, and my title. I've also grabbed a piece of craft cardstock for the background. As I create this page, I'll use a few other supplies like inks and adhesives. That complete list of everything I use is available to view in the description section. I'm going to adhere the heart cutout to the center of my background. This project is a great one for those of you who also like using mixed media. I'm keeping it simple today, but you could add paste to the background, use sprays on the heart, or add some of your favorite paints or inks to this project. If you're not one who does paper crafts, this design would also be a great one to use with iron-on, adhesive vinyl, or sublimation materials. I'm considering cutting one out to place on the front of a journal. My photos have been placed on the left side of the page. I have backed them with some pattern papers and popped them up on foam tape. The title is going to sit above the photo, but before I adhere it in place, I want to assemble my florals. I'm not going to share the entire assembly process of these flowers because we are a bit pressed for time, and my primary focus was to teach you some design space techniques. Instead, I'm just going to share a few inking tips and some shaping techniques. I'm going to start with the Annabelle floral. This was cut from white cardstock. You could also cut these from pink cardstock or pattern paper if you wish. I'm adding a soft pink ink to the centers of each of the floral pieces with a small blending brush. This is just a small amount of color and it fades out towards the end of the petal. Now that the petals have color, I'm going to use a shaping tool to shape my petals and add some shape to the leaves. I'm just going to run these down the center of each petal, add some shaping to the center, and then I'm going to use a stylus to add veins to the leaf shapes. Most of the floral designers on the website have video tutorials or images of the completed florals in that digital file you download, and these are a great help. There are also quite a few classes and project ideas on our site with three-dimensional flowers, and many of them have assembly tutorials. I am using foam tape in between some of the layers to give this flower some dimension. If you're not a fan of full florals on a scrapbook page, you can assemble these without foam tape and they look just as beautiful. I'm one who enjoys fluffier, full-dimensional flowers on my layouts, so I always add the foam tape and create some shaping to the petals of my flowers. I would love to know in the comments whether or not you prefer fuller flowers on your scrapbook and paper crafting projects, or if you prefer a flatter flower. In the center are 2 sets of stamen, and I'm going to layer these together. There are a few ways that you can do this, but I'm just going to keep it simple today. Now, isn't this large flower just gorgeous? I'm going to assemble the rest of the flowers off camera, and then we can put the pieces together. Here are the leaves and florals for the page. I used ink on the edges of the leaves and added some ink on the folded centers. I did not share the assembly process for the Cosmo flowers because the designer has an awesome tutorial, and the link to her video comes with the digital file. This is the part where you get to be creative and let your personal artist shine. I'm going to be adding 2 florals in the upper corner, and a few leaves with the remaining florals are going to be used to frame the photo. You can add those beautiful florals, leaves, and the sentiment to the project wherever it suits you best. Whenever I create a scrapbook page, I like to create visual balance on the page. That is why I chose 3 different colors for my florals. I also like using odd numbers of florals. So you're going to notice that there's only 1 big large white flower, and then there's 3 of each of the other colors. As I'm adding them to the page, you're going to see me create visual triangles with the colors of the florals and the colors of the leaves. This just helps to create balance on your scrapbook page. I chose to cut my leaves from a few different colors of green cardstock so that there was some contrast within the florals. You could also cut everything from white cardstock and use inks or sprays to add color. Now, I know that this part of the video is going a little bit fast, but that's because I know most of you are going to create a page that matches your photos, your story, and your theme. Mine has more of a Valentine feel to it, which is why I created the title You and Me Together. Before I adhere this down, I want to share one more tip with you. If you like to pop up your titles or letters, but dislike cutting thin pieces of foam tape for fonts like this, just glue multiple layers of the title together. I cut out 5 images, adhered them together, and now I have a much thicker piece to work with that pops up off the page without foam tape. Alright, I'm going to add a few finishing touches to this page and finish adhering everything down, and then I'm going to show you the completed layout and share that wonderful surprise that we have for you from Creative Fabrica. Here's the page we created today using those hearts, florals, leaves, and fonts. I added some pearls to the leaf cutouts. These little sprigs are the perfect size for gems and pearls. I also added some stickers and a tag. Now, all memory keepers know that you need a place to tell the story. I'm not a fan of my handwriting, so I like to use fonts from our website to type up my story or sentiment in a word processing program, and then I print it out for my page. Let me show you how to create your journaling tag real quick in Microsoft Word. You're going to start by inserting a text box. So just go ahead and go over to Insert, click on Text Box, and then click on Draw Text Box. You're just going to draw a box, and then you can size this to whatever size you need to fit the space where your journaling is going to be located. Now we're going to click on the text box and type in our story. This is where the fun part comes in. You can click on your font drop-down menu and select from any of those fonts that you downloaded from the website and use them to create the journaling for your page. There's no cutting machine needed, just a simple printer. Before you send this to the printer, you are going to want to remove the line that goes around that text box. You're going to go to the Shape Format tab, and you're going to see where it says Shape Fill and Shape Outline. Go ahead and click on the drop-down menu next to Shape Outline and choose the white color. This is going to remove that line all the way around your text box. Now you can go ahead and send this on to your printer and use a die or a cutting machine to cut out that tag shape.
All right, you have done an amazing job today, and I can't wait to see your scrapbook project. I promised you that we had a special offer for you, so don't leave quite yet. As I shared earlier, the Creative Fabrica platform is a great place for you to find designs that you can use for your personal crafting or for those who want to sell for your business. You can also learn more about crafting and some tips and tricks when it comes to running a crafting business with the online video classes and tools. All of this is available with Creative Fabrica's All Access subscription plan. Before you go, I want to tell you how you can download the designs that I used on the scrapbook page today for free and get a free trial of this subscription plan.
As a new subscriber, you'll be able to download 10 products for free, which means that you can download all the designs I used in this video with this free trial and recreate the project. Or you could download any 10 products of your choice for free. When your free month has expired or the 10th product has been downloaded, the subscription renews at $9 a month. Normally this is $29, but as a member you're paying that set $9 a month fee and you still get full access to all the millions of fonts and designs. Of course, you can cancel at any time, so there's no commitments, but I know that as soon as you see all the incredible things available to you on the Creative Fabrica website, you will find that this is an awesome deal. You can read more about this new subscriber offer and sign up using the link in the description. I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope that you were inspired to try something new. Have an amazing week, and I can't wait to see what you create.